You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
Around every entry point and every clever attacker, Vectra sees the attacks others can't. How? Vectra has AI on it. Vectra's AI attack signal intelligence tells security teams where to focus, what matters. It wades through thousands of individual threat events so you don't have to. Attackers infiltrating your network? Vectra has AI on it. Attackers compromising your identities? Vectra has AI on it. Vectra AI, the integrated signal powering your XDR. Visit vectra.ai/showme to learn more. That's vectra.ai/showme to learn more.
It feels like just moments ago that we were talking about the near closure of Astra Space. But thanks to a buyback by the company's co-founders, Astra has a new lifeline. And now they even have validation from the U.S. Department of Defense. Someone's looking out for you, Astra.
T-minus 20 seconds to LOS speed rest. Go for deploy. Roger roll.
Today is October 23rd, 2024. I'm Maria Varmazis, and this is T-minus. Astra selected for a $44 million DIU launch contract. Redwire announces new biopharmaceutical partnerships. Umbra selected by SDA for a remote sensing contract. And our guest today is Kevin Hell, CEO of mPower Technology. We're going to be talking about space solar power, so stick around for the second part of the show. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day, everybody. Let's dive into today's stories, shall we? Astra has been awarded a contract by the U.S. DIU, or Defense Innovation Unit, with a ceiling of up to $44 million. The contract supports advancing and scaling the production capabilities of Astra's tactically responsive launch system to achieve the prototype objective of launching Rocket 4 to orbit or suborbit from the United States, Australia, or other locations. Astra ended more than 3 years as a public company on July 18th by completing a deal to take the company private at a tiny fraction of what it was once valued at. Chris Kemp, who is the co-founder and CEO of Astra, who also purchased the company back to save it from financial ruin, added to the press release that this, quote, award is a testament not only to our team's perseverance this past year, but also a validation of our vision for tactically responsive space. We're proud to have so many partners who understand and support the importance of point-to-point space delivery for national security and defense applications. The DIU contract facilitates the continued development of Astra's Launch System 2, including the demonstration of automated laser welding capabilities in the production of Rocket 4, advanced concepts of Launch System 2's ground infrastructure, and the industrialization of Astra's production facilities. No additional details were shared about when a launch might occur. Redwire is really pushing the boundaries for development in biopharmaceuticals, and we are all here for it. The company has announced 3 new partnerships on experiments that will launch to the ISS aboard the SpaceX 31 cargo resupply mission. And the first new mission partnership is with Bristol Myers Squibb, also known as BMS. The companies will be launching an investigation to the International Space Station to study model small molecule compounds using Redwire's pharmaceutical drug development platform. And the research being conducted with BMS has the potential to enhance drug stability, streamline manufacturing processes, and improve efficiencies across various therapeutic areas, including oncology, immunology, and cardiovascular disease. Redwire will also be launching an investigation in partnership with pharmaceutical startup company Exeza Libero Pharma to study the novel drug ELP-004, which prevents excess bone removal associated with numerous diseases including rheumatoid arthritis, multiple myeloma, and breast and prostate cancers. The third investigation is being conducted in partnership with Butler University. Redwire and Butler University will seek to produce high-quality seed crystals in microgravity that could be used to produce pharmaceuticals on Earth. Wow. We are really excited by all these developments and look forward to seeing the results of these investigations in the coming months and years. Umbra has been awarded a multi-million-dollar contract by the Space Development Agency to demonstrate the feasibility of integrating its commercial remote sensing capabilities into SDA's Proliferated Warfighter space architecture. Umbra develops synthetic aperture radar-enabled spacecraft capable of observations of areas of interest, which can then be downlinked directly to tactical nodes for processing, fusion, and exploitation, thus eliminating the need for a direct ground terminal. Crossbow has successfully launched the third flight of its Bolt rocket. The XB-32 motor, which is part of Crossbow's Bolt rocket family, is the largest advanced manufactured solid propellant motor ever flown. Crossbow says this milestone confirms the scalability and effectiveness of the company's approach, demonstrating that affordable, large-scale production of solid rocket motors is achievable. The launch was sponsored by the Defense Innovation Unit and U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, and with further support from Redwire, New Mexico Tech, DARPA, and Air Force Research Labs. We mentioned yesterday that it is that special time of year for quarterly financial updates, and several more legacy space companies have filed their reports this week. One of them is Boeing, which has suffered significant setbacks, to say the least, in its aerospace and space business, which recorded third quarter revenue of still $17.8 billion and a loss per share of nearly $10. Carrie Ortberg, who is Boeing President and Chief Executive Officer, shared in the press release that it will take time to return Boeing to its former legacy. But with the right focus and culture, we can be an iconic company and aerospace leader once again. Going forward, we will be focused on fundamentally changing the culture, stabilizing the business, and improving program execution, while setting the foundation for the future of Boeing. Another legacy aerospace and defense company, General Dynamics, has continued to see growth. They reported third quarter 2024 revenue of $11.7 billion, up 10.4% from the same period last year. They recently secured $605 million for multiple awards from the U.S. Space Development Agency to develop and integrate ground systems for the low Earth orbit satellite network. Engineering company KBR also reported their results, boasting revenue of $1.9 billion, up another 10% on a year-over-year basis. And Teledyne Technologies reported all-time record quarterly sales of over $1.4 billion, which is an increase of 2.9% compared with last year. And if you love financial reports and really want to dig in on all of these, you can do so by following the links in our show notes. Israeli company SatixFy Communications has signed a $9 million software development and license agreement with MDA Space. Under the agreement, SatixFy will provide the modem and beamforming software for the SatixFy chipsets to be used in digital satellite broadband low Earth orbit constellation payloads. SatixFy will also provide software licenses and a development kit to support MDA Space deliveries to customers. The UK Space Agency has completed a critical design review for the Amber 2 Maritime Domain Awareness satellite. The spacecraft will play a key role in detecting what they call dark vessels at sea, such as those involved in illegal immigration, illegal fishing activities, drug smuggling, ship-to-ship transfers of goods, and evading sanctions. UKSA says the satellite is on schedule for launch in mid-2025. And honestly, I'm starting to feel like a bit of a broken record here, but tonight might be the night for Crew 8's return from the ISS. Fingers crossed. The latest update says NASA and SpaceX are now targeting no earlier than 5 p.m. Eastern tonight, October 23rd, for the agency's Crew 8 mission departure. An undocking tonight would result in a splashdown on Friday, October 25th. Just in time for Halloween, guys. And whew, that concludes our briefing for today. There are 3 extra stories that we've added to our selected reading section of the show notes today just for you. One's on China possibly sharing moon samples with the United States. A second is on new space reports covering Q3 trends. And a third is on cislunar space. So go on and check them out. Hey, T-Minus crew. If you find this podcast useful, please do us a favor and share a 5-star rating and a short review in your favorite podcast app. That stellar review from you will help other professionals just like you to find the show and join the T-Minus crew. Thanks for your support, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Quick question. Do your end users always, and I mean always without exception, work on company-owned devices and IT-approved apps? I didn't think so. So my next question is, how do you keep your company's data safe when it's sitting on all those unmanaged apps and devices? 1Password has an answer to this question: Extended Access Management. 1Password Extended Access Management helps you secure every sign-in for every app on every device because it solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM can't touch. And it's now available to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at onepassword.com/cyberwire. That's onepassword.com/cyberwire.
Today's guest is Kevin Hell, CEO of mPower Technology.
I actually started my career as a spacecraft system engineer, and so I have a background in that. And then after leaving, that industry for a bit and working with a variety of technology companies, I was approached by a gentleman named Murado Condon, who was a researcher at Sandia Labs, who developed a technology that we call now Dragon Scales. And he was spinning it out of Sandia Labs. And he talked to me about the potential of this technology for particularly the space market. And I saw the opportunity and thought it was fantastic. So I have joined up with him about 5 years ago, and we're making history now, which is great.
Yeah, tell me a bit about Dragon Scales, please, because I was doing some reading about it, but I would love to hear it from you so I can learn some more.
Yeah, sure. So what it is, simply speaking, is essentially taking terrestrial solar cells, laser cutting them to a specific shape that's required for a particular mission or application, putting those cells down onto a flexible substrate and interconnecting them in parallel or in series, which gives you a lot of advantages. And you can put that on a flexible substrate so that it essentially can conform or bend to any shape. So there's a lot of different applications, but it's particularly interesting for the space market, and it has a perfect fit for a lot of the space missions that are emerging. One of the great things about it is that it uses technology that already exists either in the semiconductor industry, pick-and-place tools, dispense tools, or also photovoltaic solar cells that also exist already in the terrestrial side. So we're able to take all of this and kind of put it together into a way to enable mass production, if you will, of solar panels, which has never really been done before for space.
A big part of what we like to focus on the show is the new space economy and the new space industry. And solar power can't do much without power in space.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
So tell me a bit more about how you all are sort of pushing things forward there.
Yeah. Well, in the movies, they say in space, no one can hear you scream. And we say, in space, nothing happens without power. And, what's happening, of course, is with dropping launch costs, more and more ambitious programs are being designed, all types of, LEO constellations and lunar missions and space habitats, space manufacturing, and space power generation and beaming is another area that's kind of emerging. And all of these missions require lots and lots of power, but they also require power at low cost and power that's highly resilient. The technology that's been used for the last couple of decades is based on gallium arsenide. It's extremely expensive. It's extremely supply constrained. There simply isn't enough, supply out there to even get close to meeting the demand that's emerging for Space 2.0. And so what you really need is an approach that allows you to scale up to very significant volumes, which we do. We use automated flex circuit assembly equipment that like pick and place tools and whatnot that are already there. We're working with a partner that is experts in this field, and we can ramp up to super high volumes in a very short period of time. this major contract we just won is probably one of the largest, if not the largest, space power deal in history. And we were able to kind of meet the requirement by having this manufacturing approach, which allows us to reach these very large volumes. And this specific deal is over 1.1 megawatts of power for 200 satellites. It's actually a good deal above that. We're not at liberty to tell exactly how much it is, but it's a significant deal, and it's hopefully one of many in the future.
Yeah, this is the Airbus deal, right? Is right? Do I have that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons we definitely wanted to speak with you all, because it was quite a significant deal. And again, we've been watching your journey for some time and noticing that you all have been getting some great funding rounds, and clearly the support from the market is there. And then this was just a great feather in your cap.
We're in a really unique position. I mean, we are ready now. We don't see a lot of competition in the marketplace right now for what we have. We have manufacturing in place. We have 10 years of space heritage across 6 satellites. We've done the testing on the ground. And our entire manufacturing line is just ready to go. And no one else is close to that in terms of that combination of being able to produce at volume, having the proven space heritage, et cetera. So it's a great position to be in.
It's a very enviable one. I'm sure many people are looking at you all going, wow, it's so awesome. And given this, it's such a huge vote of confidence in the technology you all are developing, you must have some fantastic ambitions for what's coming down the road in terms of where you all want to expand. I mean, supporting cislunar. I mean, I don't know. I'm throwing that out there. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, you're raising a great point. We actually have a engaged funnel of business that's worth over $500 million. Just to put it in perspective, it's very significant. And the market segments that we're well suited for are, first of all, of course, low Earth orbiting constellations of satellites. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of satellites. MDA Aurora, the deal that we're supplying with Airbus, has already been chosen for Telesat Lightspeed, which is one major constellation you probably, I'm sure, have heard of. There are many others that we're also, I think, well suited for, and we believe that we're kind of the likely choice for many of these constellations as they become funded. So that's clearly one kind of near-term market for us. But beyond that, we have a number of other really exciting market segments that we're going after. Space logistics, orbit raising, orbital transfer vehicles. We announced a deal with Firefly Aerospace and many others that are engaged in this area as well. We happen to be also quite well suited for electric propulsion systems because we're connected in parallel in series. We can get to very high voltages, which are very appreciated by electric propulsion systems, and so that's another area. Space habitats. We announced a deal with Gravitics as well, and because we're able to conform to different surfaces, we're quite suited for space habitats and curved structures and things like this. On the lunar side, we already have a contract with Honeybee Robotics, which is owned by Blue Origin, for a vertical solar array for the moon as part of Project Artemis. It's essentially a charging station for the moon, for robotic missions, and eventually for manned missions that can be deployed and redeployed. It's essentially a very significant mass that gets deployed up vertically and provides a significant amount of power on the lunar surface. So we think we're quite well suited for that because, again, of the resilience of the technology. Deploying and redeploying is going to put a lot of stress and strain on a solar system. And also, silicon does very well in the cold. We're based on silicon technologies. And so in the lunar environment, our efficiency goes up quite a bit. And then finally, the big longer term market that we are very excited about is space power generation and then beaming that power using lasers or microwaves, either to the Earth for remote sites where you can't get transmission lines, or to other locations in space, to satellites that can receive the power, to lunar surface, et cetera. So we have a number of engagements right now in that area with companies that are looking to leverage Dragon scales for these large-scale systems. That's an area that could become enormous in the future in terms of total watts, into space. From a power perspective.
That's an area that has been talked about for a long time. It's something I'm personally very interested in. And I was wondering, you all are, again, very well positioned to be at the top of that. So, but yeah, the technology still has some ways to go in terms of space-based solar power. But I was Very curious what you all were doing. So that's really cool to hear.
I think it fundamentally comes down to the economics, and what's the dollar per watt delivered. And, I think with our technology, we can bring that down significantly. And that's what's really required, order of magnitude or more relative to what it's been in the past, for sure.
We'll be right back.
The IT world used to be simpler. You only had to secure and manage environments that you controlled. Then came new technologies and new ways to work. Now, employees, apps, and networks are everywhere. This means poor visibility, security gaps, and added risk. That's why Cloudflare created the first-ever connectivity cloud. Visit cloudflare.com to protect your business everywhere you do business.
Welcome back. Space, the final frontier. Oh, I love saying that. Well, I've got some news that'll make all us Trekkies out there want to set our phasers to stun, or maybe spend. Julian's Auctions, not Julian Bashir, different Julian, is gearing up to present Bid Long and Prosper at the Infinity Festival in Los Angeles. This auction is about to beam up some incredible pieces of Star Trek history, and if you're a Trekkie like me, I know you don't want to miss it, though hopefully you've got some deep pockets. So what can you expect at this interstellar event? Oh, just a few iconic props, costumes, and collectibles from the entire franchise. And by the entire franchise, I do mean from the original 1960s series with the OG Captain Kirk and Spock, all the way to the more recent Star Trek Picard. It is the ultimate treasure chest for fans, collectors, and, let's be real, anyone who wants to impress their very nerdy friends with a replica tricorder. Maybe it wouldn't impress your friends, but it would impress mine, okay? One of the crown jewels of this auction is William Shatner's own Starfleet tunic from the original series. Yes, it is the tunic worn by the OG captain himself, no girdle included. Just imagine owning that piece of sci-fi history. It's basically a license to boldly go where no fan has gone before. In style. And here's the kicker. This is not just about nostalgia, although there's a lot of it to go around. Proceeds from some of the items will benefit the Hollywood Science Fiction Museum. And those are the guys that rescued the Enterprise D bridge from destruction back in 2012, if you remember that Kickstarter. Yeah? Anyway, so you're not just buying a piece of Starfleet. You're helping future generations discover their love for science fiction, technology, and all things geeky. So if you're in LA, head to the Infinity Festival on November 2nd and 3rd, and you can see these amazing collectibles up close. If you're not in LA like me, you're on the other coast entirely or further away, no worries. Julian's Auctions is live streaming the event, so you can make your bids from anywhere in the galaxy or beyond, or at least from your couch. Live long, bid strong, and prosper. That's it for T-Minus for October 23rd, 2024, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. For additional resources from today's report, check out our show notes at space.n2k.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. You can email us at space@n2k.com or submit the survey in the show notes. Your feedback ensures we deliver the information that keeps you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. N2K Strategic Workforce Intelligence optimizes the value of your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your team while making your team smarter. This episode was produced by Alice Carruth. Our associate producer is Liz Stokes. We are mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Our executive editor is Brandon Karpf. Simone Petrella is our president. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. And I am your host, Maria Varmazis. Thanks for listening. We will see you tomorrow.